Hey guys, I'm here with a quick banner review for the SINoALICE crossover summons, and I think I sort of underrated these units and weapons based on my first impressions of them. I think they're actually quite good. We've got some really good arena units as well as a few good weapons and units for the versus wind subjugation. So if you're struggling in arena or that particular subjugation, this might be a good banner to pull on. Just remember that Christmas and New Year's are around the corner and lots of meta-defining units sort of came out last year. During those banners. Unfortunately, I wasn't playing at the time, so that one hurt. Anyway, let's get into the banner review. Firstly, we have Saryu, who is probably the steal, or the best unit in this banner. She's really good as an arena support unit. She's going to boost both attack and agility for the team, which we'll get to in a second. In terms of her stats, HP 94,000, really strong. Her attack 6,300, which is really solid base attack, to be honest. Defense is decent, 4,700, and she has 1,200 agility thanks to her soldier ability, which is going to boost all allies' agility by 20%, and that's static fleet foot or static agility, so that'll just add to the base stat, as you can see there. In terms of her character skill, she basically makes Bloody Sariu useless in the versus fire subjugation, she's just outclasses her in every way. So she'll increase all allies' attack by 20% for 60 seconds and increase water damage by 25% for 60 seconds as well. And when she's holding a water weapon, she'll also reduce all allies' skill cooldown by 20%, which is really useful if you're going for a combo or trying to sneak in a double CS during knockdown. In terms of her abilities, the first one's Assault. So all allies' critical hit rates will increase by 10%, which is really good. Then she has Soldier, so all allies' agility will increase by 20%, and that's base agility, it's not temp fleet foot. And then lastly, Valiant, so all allies attack up by 10% for 60 seconds, so it's a temp attack increase. So she is a rare unit with 3 excellent support abilities for Arena. The only one I can think of that has 3 really good support abilities is probably Celeb Akiha. So she's in kind of a rare position, I suppose. So really good support unit, increasing crit rate, speed, and attack for the team. Her debris is just 10% agility up, which is pretty decent, but not something you should go all the way for, unless you're really struggling with agility. In terms of her weapon, it's got a very interesting name, Staff of Bondage. It'll be a useful sub-weapon for agility, sort of water users in Arena. HP of 39,000 is pretty high, attack 1800 is quite low, and then solid defense of 2000. The weapon skill cooldowns are 18 seconds and 14 seconds respectively. In terms of the passives, she has Liquid Boon and Temp Fleet Foot, 20% for 60 seconds, so really good passives. Kind of outclassed by the Silver Snow Claw, just because it has more attack. But still could be a useful weapon to put in a sub-slot on water agility characters. So, anyone using the Subjugation Spear or anyone using Silver Snow Claw, things like that. Okay, on to Noel. I'm not really sure what to think of her. She has some interesting abilities and could be useful in Arena and the versus wind subjugation, but she's not top tier. Alright, in terms of HP, 75,000 is solid. Attack of 8,500, which is being boosted by her Valiance ability. Defense of 5,400, quite solid for an attacking unit. And then just base agility of 1,000. Her character skill is going to be very useful as a support for the versus wind subjugation. So it's gauge level C, which is nice. It's going to do 230% damage 3 times, so okay damage. And it's going to reduce defense by 30% for 30 seconds, as well as increasing all allies' fire damage by 30% for 30 seconds when she's holding a fire weapon. So that's really good as a support character skill, and she's probably going to outclass Lacrima F66X as a fire support in the versus wind subjugation. She's a somewhat useful support character for Arena as well, thanks to this static Valiance ability where she'll increase all allies' attack up by 20%. So that's the one that'll reflect in the base stats rather than causing a temporary attack increase during the fight. She has Blaze Verve, so that's pretty good when, pairing with weapons like Trusting Trigger on other team members or the Fire Subjugation Greatsword. And then Resilience, where she's going to increase all allies' HP by 10%. So some decent support abilities, but not as good as Saryu by any means. But she'll still see some use as a kind of turret in Arena that provides a bit of support. But she's not at the very, very top tier, but still quite good. Her debris is 10% attack up, so yeah, not the greatest there. Her weapon is awesome. Really, really good on fire cooldown builds for Arena. In terms of the base stats, 22,000 HP, 2600 attack, which is good, and 2300 defense. Pretty decent defense there, typical of spears. In terms of the skills, we've got a crush, so it'll increase fire damage by 15% for 30 seconds. And then a render ability, reducing defense by 30% for 30 seconds. So it's basically a fire version of the core Terror Blade if you've got that for the light. So that's pretty decent as a support weapon. In terms of the passives, really, really good, and this is why it's going to be a good Arena subslot weapon. Blaze Boon, so fire damage up by 30%, and then Blaze Haste, so a good cooldown reducing weapon. It's also got a barrier skill. You know, you could pair this with the Shiny Lance, I guess, which isn't the greatest weapon for spear users. But if you don't have the Scrap Steel Prison, which is a new fire greatsword that came out recently, this could be a good subslot weapon on anyone using the Fire Subjugation Greatsword, or any other fire weapon where you want cooldown as well. So really, really good weapon and decent support for both Subjugation and Arena with Noel there. She's not going to be a main damage dealer or anything like that in Subjugation, but yeah, kind of an interesting unit, kind of stuck between a few worlds. And then lastly, we have Akiha, who's just a stat demon. She's going to be quite good in Subjugation versus Wind, and against any sort of like Wind Tower or anything like that. In terms of her base stats, HP 77,000, attack of 8,900, which is going to be increased even further by her rank bonuses, defense of 4,700, and base agility of 1,000. Just note her attack is being sort of buffed by her vigor there. In terms of a character skill, this is just insanity. So she's dealing 400% damage to one enemy 4 times. So that's 1,600 total. But her damage will increase by 50% when holding a fire weapon. So that's 600% damage 4 times. That's insane. For 2,400 total. If that was a 5-hit character skill, that would be insane. But unfortunately, it's just losing that 1 hit. She's going to hit damage cap so easily. If we think about Celebratory Yuri, when she has attack up, she's doing 400% damage per hit. This Akiha is doing that at baseline, and then it's going to be doing 600%, which is 200% more than Celeb Yuri with an attack buff. So she's going to hit the cap very easily. If that's something you're struggling to do in Subjugation, particularly versus Wind, she's going to achieve that for you quite easily. In terms of abilities, we mentioned the 25% Vigor before. Blaze Drive, which is nice, just a nice attack boost when using fire weapons, and then Ambush, 15%. In terms of other uses outside of being a good damage dealer in the versus Wind Subjugation, she's going to be excellent in Arena as well, as either a cooldown CDR build with the Fire Subjugation Greatsword, or even as an agility rusher with a bit of soldier support. So it's kind of out of her and Summer 063Y sort of competing for that slot. Akiha has better attack and a slightly better crit rate, and from memory 063Y has a small agility buff, so based on how many times you've awakened each of these, see which one of those fits better into your team. I'm going to be terrified of people using Akiha, this one in particular, as an agility rusher. She'll need a lot of support, but I think she will absolutely melt. And she'll be a great cooldown turret as well. In terms of her weapon, decent HP, 30,000, 3,600 attack, which is insane. This is the second highest attack of all greatswords, behind Akiha's EX sword, which is pretty insane. It's even more attack than 063Y's EX sword. That is being boosted a little bit by Vigor, but that's still really, really good. In terms of skills, we have a Blitz doing 500% damage, that's decent, and then Vigor, which will increase your attack 30% for 30 seconds. So not the greatest main hand weapon, but you can use it in a pinch. Sub-slot abilities, Blaze Boon, really nice, and Vigor of 15%. So that's just an excellent stat stick to whack on in the sub slot of any sort of PvE fire build, I suppose. Particularly Subjugation and the versus Wind Tower. It's got a barrier skill too, which is nice. So yeah, 3 really decent units. Saryu being really good for Arena, with that rare combo of both Soldier and Valiance. Only 2 other units have that. 3, sorry, which is Celeb Akiha, Christmas Theo, and Lacrima F66X, who's pretty bad. So if you don't have those units, she's really sort of going to be very beneficial to your account. Also useful for the versus Fire Subjugation. Noel's sort of stuck in the middle. Great support for the versus Wind Subjugation, and an okay support for Arena. Then Akiha is going to be doing great damage in Subjugation, any versus Wind PvE content, and could be a scary cooldown / agility character for Arena. So that's pretty much that. I'm not going to review the new companions or the handout weapon. They're all kind of mid. The handout weapon's okay as a sub-slot weapon. It's got both Vigor and a ambush passive, which is nice. But apart from that, these costumes look sick. Look at them. They're insane. Anyway, guys, I'll be releasing my every fist reviewed in 5 seconds video over the next few days. But apart from that, I'll catch you in the next vid.